I sampled this stitch. I don't actually know what it's called. I feel like there's probably a name for this stitch, but I don't actually know what it is. But I really like this like diamond filet crochet lacy motif. So I'm gonna try to incorporate this into 2 different designs. I have this ginormous cone of yarn, Aunt Lydia's, I think, crochet thread. I can't remember if it was the 10 or the 3. I think it's the 10. And I have some ideas to create a halter neck tank top with this design, as well as a short sleeved blouse, like a kind of a puffier blouse, but we'll see if I can actually like execute it and make it work, you know? For the tank top design, I have this much crocheted so far. Ta-da! I'm using a 1.5 millimeter hook. It's like the smallest hook I've ever used to create a garment, but I'm really liking it. But honestly, like imagine this, but like as an entire dress. Am I crazy enough to make an entire dress with crochet thread and a 1.5 millimeter hook? Potentially. I wouldn't put it past myself. Originally, I created panels with the decreases and they just kind of looked really ugly, and so I decided instead I'm just going to make it easy on myself and create rectangular panels for the bodice part, and then for the halter neck part we'll create the decreases along the diagonal. Okay, let's get started. Well, technically I have already very much started. Wrap me in this when I die. Just cover me in it. So I've basically crocheted all day. Ta-da! Oh my god, she's gorgeous. She is so fabulous. She is amazing, beautiful, stunning. Please say you agree. I need validation. Thank you very much. This is the progress I've made so far. I did start creating decreases because it's going to be kind of like a open back feature, and it's gonna follow the edge of the sort of edging. Gonna follow the DC clusters in terms of decreases all the way up to be 9 motifs across. If I start with 9, then I go to 7, and then I go to 5, and then I go to 3, and then I go to 1. This is the update I have so far. Decreases on the side here. As you can see, I've been like following the DC double crochet stitch clusters on the side, and I feel like that decreasing method is quite neat. I think like afterwards I'm going to definitely outline the edge with a different type of stitch just to kind of, I don't know, smooth out the sort of rough corners you get after the DC clusters. Another angle of all the decreases. Well, hello, Ted. And then this mannequin, ooh, uh-oh. Well, you just saw it, but the mannequin is set to my measurements, and it was just like barely, like there was a bit of a gap in between the edges of the panel. So that's good because I'm gonna add a little tie back. I'll probably have to work on the border around sort of the edges of decreases, because as you can see, the method of decrease I used made it so that the edges are a little rough, which I think could look better after blocking, but I think ultimately benefit from having just like a dedicated border outlining it and kind of evening out those stitches. Plus, I think it would be a really nice detail to kind of run through the back panel sides and then also the hem. So we need to work on a couple of finishing details. As my sister very poignantly pointed out, it's see-through. So I was thinking about making some bra cups out of this white cotton yarn that I have and then attaching it to the inside of the top, kind of aligning it underneath some of the diagonals. And then I'm gonna make these bra cups and then I'm probably just sew them on, honestly, hand sew. And then also I still have to work on creating the little halter necklace collar, lacy collar detail right here. But she's so close to being done and she looks so good. Okay, we are currently in the middle of crocheting the second bra cup. This is what the first one looks like. It's a pretty standard bra cup made with half double crochets. I also worked my half double crochet stitches through the 3rd loop only. I just find that by doing that, it creates for like fewer gaps in between your stitches, which is good because the whole point of the bra cup is for coverage. This is my first bra cup. I have worked 17 stitches here and then I've increased to 26 on either side of the center stitch. We're gonna finish that second bra cup, but also I do have an idea of using this pattern to create a like scrunched, cinched in blouse with almost like little cap sleeves.
Bra cups, done. Well, okay, I haven't sewed them in yet, but I think I'm just gonna hand sew the bra cups on, just so that the placement is like perfectly aligned the way that I want it to be, because I really like this. I really like how it has the little 3x3 motif pattern just like right here centered. So I'm gonna make sure to just sew everything on so that it's secured. And then now we gotta work on that lacy collar neckline situation.
Okay. So this mannequin is technically my size, but the thing is that I kind of forgot. I didn't like counter in the fact that like this fabric is gonna stretch. Like I didn't really hold the ends of my panel taut against the actual mannequin. And so I thought originally I was gonna do a corset back, but as I tried it on and I like really stretched it to form, I was realizing very quickly that my ends actually meet, and so a corset back would actually be very not good for this design. And so instead I was thinking about actually undoing all of the trim that I just did and instead putting a button back here instead with some little pearl buttons that I have. I've also pinned the bra cups to where they're gonna get sewn on, but I haven't actually sewn them on yet because I had an inkling I was gonna redo this border. So bye-bye all of my hard work. Sometimes my hair like wraps itself in my yarn and I need to like go in and cut my hair out. Okay, so I have a wee bit of a dilemma. I might already have a solution and I'm leaning towards using that solution. So essentially I have this panel, right? It is 9 motifs across. What's happening is that the 9 motifs kind of covering my body, the edges of the panel are touching. So I can't really do a corset back. So I thought instead of using these little pearl buttons, but I just drafted it and I kind of pinned it just to see what it would look like. And I tried it on and I didn't really like it because with the pearl buttons, it looks very bridal, which like nothing wrong with that, but it's not really the look I'm going for with this top. I want this top to be very like light, summery, and I almost feel like adding these little pearl buttons to it would make it heavy. It would just kind of make the design a little bit heavier and a little bit more like formal, which is not really what I want. My problem is that there are too many motifs in order to create the type of back that I want, which is more of like a strappy, not necessarily even like a corset, but just like a strappy open back kind of a look. However, I have been working up this panel, which is 7 motifs across. I originally was gonna use this panel to create a little summer blouse rendition using this stitch. However, I think I'm going to use this as the base of the halter neck top instead, and then I'll unravel this yarn and reuse it later on, because then this is fewer motifs, and once it wraps around me, I can create the like open corset back detail that I've been wanting to create. I think that's what I gotta do. This is what I have so far. I'm doing this like very minimal scalloped border around the edges. Ta-da! She fits a lot better too. And I can do more like the original open corset back, lacy open back vision that I had. So I'm gonna finish up the scallop bordering all the way up here. Do you remember how the halter neck top, how that panel was like too big originally, and then I was like, oh, I'll just repurpose the other panel that I've been making, that I was making for the short sleeve blouse? Well, you know, I finished the halter neck. It's beautiful. I love it. She's gorge. But I was like, I don't want to waste the yarn that I used to create the original halter neck panel, and so I have these ramen noodles. This was what the halter neck used to be. Now I'm going to start creating the short sleeve blouse off of this.
Okay, so this is the progress so far. You might be wondering why I have my little tank top sort of draped over the dress form like this. And it's because I was thinking about it, and I personally really like adding unique details and making things kind of reversible, having it have a different look from the back and the front, just so that it increases the versatility of wearing it in your wardrobe. So with that in mind, I thought it would be really fun to do this sort of like keyhole moment, like this open moment, and then maybe because I think too, because it's filet crochet and it's a cotton yarn, it can be a little stiff, so it's not like gonna be super stretchy to like put over your head. You know, the difficulties that you have with like pulling a really tight top over your head. And then especially if you're like me, I am a makeup, outfit, hair girly. But because of that, I'm thinking ahead of like how I'm gonna put this top on once it's done. And because it's white and I don't have any plans to dye it black, although that could be really cute, I really want to be able to pull it over my head without worrying that my makeup is going to smear the white. So I thought it would be really nice to have it be this sort of open cutout moment so that it's an interesting detail. You could wear it, you know, reversed, but also to prevent from like staining the actual yarn when I put it on, I want to create a little button closure. I want to put either like a bow or a button closure. I'm not sure which one I want to do yet. So I've draped over the tank top that I made previously over the shoulder just to kind of shape out the shape essentially of what the shoulder panel I'm gonna have to make for both sides. First, I'm using some little pins to pin the sides together. And I'm making sure to align the motifs properly on both sides as well. And for the fit, it is technically just like two rectangular panels, but I'm gonna add some shirring just to create more of this like fun, voluminous effect to it. I haven't really made a decision on that quite yet, but I wanna figure out this part, and then I think probably make the sleeves first before I even try to figure that detail out. And then this is pre-blocked as well. I think I'll definitely have to block it before I add the elastics in. So as you can see, I've created my two little shoulder panel and I'm so close. But right now what I'm gonna do is I'm probably actually gonna go ahead and create the little border detail, just kind of connecting the rough edges of the decreases that I created, just so that we can smooth out that edge a little bit nicer, and then start connecting all of my panels where they are pinned. Hello, welcome to my bathroom. Okay, so this is the top so far. I've seamed everything together, or at least like the sides and the little shoulder panels for the little button closure. However, before I incorporate the little elastics that I want to create a cinched in effect under the bust and at the waist, I am going to steam and block the pattern out so that I'm more accurate when taking my measurements for cinching it in. Post steaming, this is what it looks like. It has extended in length, which is perfect because when I start, I mean, this is just a hypothesis, I don't actually know because this is my first time doing a design like this, but I would assume that by inserting the elastics, it's gonna scrunch up the top, right? So you wanna start with a longer length. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and continue creating the sort of like scalloped edge details just around our neckline in the keyhole and then also in the neckline. This is my update so far. I did add an elastic under the bust and then also one at the waist. I think I'm gonna add at least one more, if not two. I don't really know. This is what the back looks like as well. Hopefully you're getting a good view of it. And then obviously because I want to make it like a reversible design, you could totally flip this around. Okay, so I have this much yarn left in the cone and it's quite a bit of yarn. I'm thinking of making a poncho and maybe a skirt, depending on how much yarn I have after the poncho. And I think basically for the poncho, it's just going to be a long rectangle that I seam together at the side of the panel and leave a hole for my head. Yeah, and I just feel like having that like long sheet of rectangular panel, it is going to be, I think it'll be really interesting because I think it will actually be a quite versatile piece to wear. I feel like you could style it a whole bunch of different ways. This is my progress so far. I'm making my crochet summer wardrobe. This is the little bikini I've made. I also have this pretty pink stitch marker that my partner's mom got me for Christmas so I can count my stitches in style. I use it all the time. I have to start off with 124 chains, so this is really great for that purpose. Low-key, I have not been filming very much while I've been crocheting this poncho because there's not much for me to film. Honestly, it's just me crocheting. I've been re-watching Avatar: The Last Airbender, the series, the original animation, and love it. It's just been making time fly as I crochet the same stitch over and over and over again. This is my progress so far. Essentially, this is just going to be like a rectangular panel that you just wrap around. I haven't made the decision of like how I'm gonna seam it all together just quite yet. We're gonna figure it out once the panel is long enough. And two, I think it'd be good to steam this out because I think it's going to be a little bit bigger than as you see now. So, okay, so please ignore my voice. I'm a little nasally right now because I'm recovering from being sick. I have essentially just repeated the stitch approximately 23 times. Like I have 23 of these pattern motifs kind of stacked from one edge or one corner of your diamond to the next corner. So if we start counting it from our first initial row, I'd be counting it like this. So that's one full motif, 2, 3, 4, so on and so forth. And I have approximately 23. If we're counting these like side half motifs, I am 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, approximately 6 motifs in terms of my second little stitch marker, and I'm going to be seaming these sides together. So it's just the rectangular panel. I've just kind of folded it so that these side seams are here. But before I seam anything together, I'm just gonna go ahead and create a single crochet stitch border all around my edges, just to make sure that my edges look really nice and neat. And then when it's time to seam those sides together, it's a little bit easier as well, because I'll just have a couple of single crochet stitches to seam together instead of these just like random chains and sides of stitches, you know what I mean? Okay, so at this point I have made my single crochet stitch border all around my edges. I'm just gonna go ahead and start slip stitch seaming all the way up until my stitch marker. From one ball of thread, we have top number 1. Ta-da! I'm really proud with how this top number 1 turned out. It was my first time using thread, first time using such a small crochet hook. I'm really proud with how this one turned out. I particularly thought it was like very genius of me to insert the little bra cups underneath so that I wouldn't have to worry about, you know, an extra added layer of security underneath the lace since it is very see-through. And I feel like the sort of diamond repeated filet crochet stitch motif lends itself really well to this like halter neckline. Yeah, sure, whatever. The one thing though that I might change later on, and I do this with a lot of my projects, I kind of let them marinate for a little bit. I will style them and wear them and kind of see, you know, how I can change some details that aren't really fitting or like just not as comfortable as I'd want it to be. And for me right now, that's definitely the back corset detailing. As you saw, I definitely struggled with figuring out how to size this stitch and also getting the back closure to fit me just right. And I feel like the corset back is like, it's fine. Like it holds the top in place, right? But but the problem is that it's a little uncomfortable. It kind of just looks a little sloppy in my opinion in the back. But for the time being, it works. And this was my very first project using, all of these different variables. So I'm really happy with how it turned out regardless. I feel like this top is so perfect for the summertime, for like going to the beach. I'm not styling any of the pieces really. I'm just going to be wearing the same jeans and like just showing you the final product. But let me know if you want a styling video, because that could be really fun too. Because I feel like this would pair really well with like a flowy midi skirt. It's giving very beachy, very summertime. It's currently thunderstorming outside. The Midwest is going through the corn sweat humidity and it's been a little miserable, but who cares? Look at my top. Let's move on to top number 2. This is top number 2. Ta-da! And I'm wearing it with the button keyhole design detail in the back. But obviously you could also wear it the other way. I'll show you the other way, don't worry. But ta-da! I think she's so cute. The short sleeve blouse version. I love this top. I love this blouse. It fits me really comfortably. Like I don't have any type of limited movement with it. And then obviously underneath I would either pair, like I have a black tube top on right now, but I also have a white bralette that I would just wear underneath this. This is such a great layering piece in my opinion. I think like as a blouse, it's fine as well. But I have a couple of corsets that I think would look really, really beautiful on top of this. This one is like my engineering marvel. This is my engineering feat, okay? Because figuring out these shoulder, the sleeve panels, and figuring out the decreases for that, truthfully, it wasn't that difficult, especially after I had already figured out how to make decreases for the halter neck top. But it was still kind of hard. And I just love it. I just love her. I don't know. Like the only thing though is that I was envisioning it to be a little bit puffier. And I think that if I had made my panel like one single motif bigger for both the front and the back, I would have achieved the slight more puffiness than I wanted. But I did end up adding a third elastic right at the bottom, and I think it looks a little bit better that way, because otherwise it looked like it was just kind of hanging down there and I didn't really like that. I'm really proud with the construction. I'm really proud with how it turned out. Let me flip it the other way so you can see it with the keyhole design up in front. Here is top number 2 with the keyhole design up in front. Just as lovely in my opinion. And then I'll do a little spin so you can see how it looks from the back as well. Ta-da! I adore this keyhole design because I think it makes the top design a little bit more versatile. I feel like I can wear it a bunch of different ways and style it more. Like the opportunities for styling are increased because of the different front and back details. I also really like it because, like I said earlier, I am definitely like a makeup, outfit, then hair type of girl normally. Now, sometimes I do switch up that routine depending on the outfit and depending on the occasion. But generally speaking, that's how I do it. And I feel like my aversion to white tops, especially like white tops that are tighter, is because I do my makeup first. And then you have to like pull the top over your face and then you smudge, your makeup. And then you also get a makeup smudge on the white top. But because of this keyhole design and because I can create a bigger neckline as I'm pulling it over my head, it's not as much of an issue. I don't have like fun little charms, but I feel like it would be really fun instead of like a little button to do like a little dangly charm, like a little teardrop pearl charm right here that just kind of dangles, it's a little fun accessory. Now let's move on to top number 3. This one just might be my favorite one. It is the poncho design, top number 3. This design, in my opinion, is incredibly versatile. But again, this is not exactly a styling video, but I feel like I could make an entire styling video on just the different configurations that you can wear this poncho. I love it. She's so flowy. She's just so graceful. I feel like it's a really great layering piece, especially for the summer when it's really hot, And like, I don't know, I personally am not a fan of summer fashion just because I love layering and it can be really difficult to do that in the summer. And I feel like in the summer when you want to layer, it's really good to have a lot of jewelry pieces, but I don't have a really good collection of jewelry. I'm like just now starting to build it out, honestly. But because of that, I feel like lace crocheted ponchos like this have so much utility in my closet because it's still like very breathable. It's beautiful. It adds a little bit of interest to your outfit without like weighing you down and making you really hot and sweaty. But yeah, we love the the poncho. Genuinely, this was like, it took a really long time to make the panel, but it was just a really long rectangle essentially. So it was really nice to just kind of turn my brain off and just binge watch Avatar: The Last Airbender and just crochet just a really long rectangular panel, seam it up in the middle, and call it a day. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know which one is your favorite garment and which one you want to see a tutorial for first. Not gonna lie, it's probably gonna be the poncho because this is the easiest one to make. Special shout out and thank you to all of my Patreon members. Thank you so much for supporting me over there. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Keep an eye out for all the tutorials that are coming your way. Actually, do you guys want to help me with one more thing before we log off? Okay, so these are all the different threads that I have. Like I have all these different thread colors and I want to like make one project using one of the colors, right? So I have this like pastel blue, green, and pink. Which color for which project should we do? I'm kind of thinking the blue for the poncho, maybe the green for the blouse, and then the pink for the halter neck top. But you guys let me know what you think. I hope you guys have a good weekend. Happy crocheting. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you later. Bye.